So that's your job. And your job is to be willing to die. You're a soldier, man. You're so on the front line. You've gone too far to turn back. If you went and hid in a basement for 6 weeks, people all over the world would think the government had killed you. So you have to understand your obligation, what the universe have gave you. And so just wants you to know. Man, I looked at that smile on your face just now. And the first time I ever wished I was a photographer, to take that picture and let the world see that honesty and that integrity. And know some of the things I know, how you'll drive all over the country to chase us down.
It's like a stalker, though.
You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Chase us down. Okay?
I do feel like I have an obligation for people. I mean, it's bigger than me.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But no, being business, you can't see it. It was business to Trump. He saw nothing.
All right.
Okay? I just saw it, that smile. Okay. And so again, I just say, man, I thank you. I look at Kathy Hughes, what she's able to do with that children. I look at Carl Nelson, the Joe Madisons. You know, some can go further than others because some got leeway. But I just say, man, to sit here
Okay, everybody. I guess it's time to go on. I'm your host, Brother Ron, also known as R2C2H2, the artivist. This is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. We got a great show for you lined up. I guess, everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. This is actually the eve of the passing of the righteous ancestor, Baba Dick Gregory. He transitioned into a righteous ancestor August 19th, 2017. And I can't believe it'll be 8 years tomorrow. And this is probably the best show to do right now in honor of this great man's living legacy. Baba Dick Gregory was a man, was kind of like a Black Forrest Gump. He was always at the right place at the right time. People don't know that Baba Dick Gregory, or they forgot that Baba Dick Gregory helped the man, Frank Wills, the former security guard at the Watergate Hotel. He helped his Black brother from Georgia find some support after he helped bring down by accident the most powerful man in the world. That was President Richard Milhouse Nixon back in the 70s. All he was doing his job as a security guard at the Watergate Hotel, where he noticed a door was ajar. He kept on closing it, and then somebody kept on reopening it, and he reported it to the law authorities, and they caught the Watergate plumbers, and they changed the world. And it was like, people don't forget, it was this black guy in his early 20s that's doing his job as security guardsman that changed his life. If you look at it from his perspective, for the worst. Like, he played himself in the movie All the President's Man, featuring Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman as the investigative journalist Woodward and Bernstein from the Washington Post. But his life was changed forever. And it really affected him for the worst. But Bobby Dick Gregory was one of the few people that helped him during this time, post-Watergate. But I want to talk about another young gentleman who was looking for a job, a black man from the Detroit area who's looking for a job in security. And he perhaps stumbled across one of the greatest unsolved crimes in American history. I want him to tell his story because I was looking at the 50th anniversary of the passing of James Riddle Hoffa, and his death has been a riddle, a real mystery, a man who was truly an enigma. And this brother has played his role. And for the last, I believe, since 2002, for the last 23 years, he has been trying to tell the world what actually happened to James Riddle Hoffa and where they could find his mortal remains while there's still time. Without further ado, I bring on to this platform, We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century, the one and only brother Michael Yarbrough. How you doing tonight, sir?
Oh, pretty good, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm blessed and highly favored. That was kind of interesting, intro, but I guess it's Bobby Dick Gregory way to tell us it's time to get on with the show. So we want to just I stumbled across your videos around the week of the 50th anniversary of the Jimmy Hoffa disappearance, and I couldn't stop watching your videos, man. Like, you're such a great storyteller, and I want to believe that you know what you're talking about. And I want to give I want to give my audience a chance to feel what I felt and see what conclusions they draw from your perspective. How you doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing pretty good, man. Just hanging in there.
I know you got a lot going on, but thank you for joining us tonight. Yes, sir.
Not been here.
I couldn't hear you.
I said my thing is it's a blessing just to be here to be on your show tonight. I could have been dead 50 years ago.
Oh yeah, so we want to. I would go let you have the stage, man. Tell us about what happened 50 years ago on July 30th, 1975. And you were just an 18-year-old kid, just graduated from high school, looking for work, trying to join the American workforce, and you came across something you was not expecting when you woke up that morning to come across.
Yeah,
and I just yes, sir. Go ahead.
It has traumatized my life, tremendously for years. A lot of people don't know, how I feel, behind that experience. But it was an experience when I was a young man. I had just graduated out of high school, June the 5th of 1975. And July rolled around and I had my first son on July the 15th. My birthday was July the 10th and my son's birthday was July the 15th. So 20 days later, or 15 days later after my son's birthday, during my son's birthday, I was preparing to go to Ferris State College in Big Rapids, me and my sister. She had already went her first year in 1974, and I graduated in 75, so I was going to meet her and my other sister up there. My other sister was going to graduate in 1976. So the one that was going to graduate in 1976 was visiting Detroit, Eastern Michigan, my oldest brother's residence. And she called me over the phone and she said, "Hey, Mike, why don't you come up here to Detroit? They got a lot of jobs and try to weigh the odds of your responsibilities versus your education right now. I just had my son. So I said, okay, so I got in my 1970 green Firebird Pontiac, hit 94 East, going to Inkster, Michigan, which is like 20 minutes east of Detroit, downtown Detroit. So when I got to Inkster, Michigan, I was, spending time with my family and fell asleep. Next morning, I woke up and on the news, they were saying they were hiring at the Renaissance Center. So Coleman Young, the mayor at that time, told everybody to come down and fill all these job positions because they wanted to have a grand opening the next year, a ribbon cutting to represent the bicentennial year of 1776 and 1976. So I said, well, okay, well, I'm going to shoot on down to Detroit, about 15, 20 minutes east of Inkster. So I got downtown to this Renaissance Center downtown on East Jefferson Street. And I pulled up in the parking lot construction there. I mean, it was already constructed over by the Windsor Canadian Tunnel. I pulled up in there. Back then, it was so accessible. You could just drive right in the parking structure, get out your car, go through the door, and go shopping. You know, they had it's like a big old mall inside. It still is big mall inside this big building. They had a movie theater. They had a waterfall. You could throw money in the waterfall, make a wish. They had all these different restaurants where you could sit back and relax and eat. In the center tower, they got this big giant hotel. It used to be the Westin Inn, but now it's the Marriott. At the top of that building, you can sit in the whole bar at the top or restaurant at the top. It revolves all around. You can see the whole city of Detroit up there. So before I went up there and took a look at that, that was years after this homicide had happened. I had entered the building and I was looking for employment. So I went to the first floor and I asked the security guard at the desk, I said, hey, where's Clean America? It's a temporary employment agency that hires for the jobs. So he said, go down the escalator and when you get to the ground floor, make a right. So I went down the escalator to the ground floor and I made a left for some odd reason. And that took me around the Tower 200, which was already complete, a lot of office space, but empty. And you could see around the area, McDonald's, Burger King, all these different restaurants. So I kept going on around that circle because it's built in like a circular motion round. It took me to what is now Tower 300. But at the time, it was about a 15 to 20 foot plastic, the kind of plastic that you can't see through, but you can hear it through. It was hanging all the way up, and you could see the yellow wires and the white lights hanging everywhere. To my left, there was this small ramp that goes up about 2 or 3 inches, yellow ramp. And behind that ramp, there was a sign saying authorized personnel only, do not enter, unless you had a hard hat, safety shoes, steel toe shoes, and safety glasses. So I knew I didn't have all that. So I was at my road's end, really. And then I heard some guys screaming for help real loud behind the plastic. I said, wow, I'm 18, young. I said, well, maybe it's a construction worker. Maybe I can go in there and help. So I saw this door at the end of that yellow ramp. I opened the door. And as I opened the door, I could see this concrete cement ramp that takes you all the way down to the basement level, about 15, 20 feet down. And I went through the ramp. It was so steep, I hurt my back I ended up running down midway of the ramp. It was so steep. And when I got to the bottom of the ramp, it was dust everywhere. It was just yellow lights hanging. I could see a bunch of them, white lights. This great big wooden fence. They don't even make them like that no more, but it was an 8-foot wooden fence around these great big pillars that they were constructing down in the basement area up to the ground floor. So as I could see through the planks in the metal planks in the wood where several tiers had been cured already. It was like 4 tiers in each pillar. The first 3 tiers, about 8 feet tall, were already cured, but in the 4th tier, it was empty. So as I was looking, this man was still hollering, screaming for help. 2 guys had him by the arms. They had these black suits on, black tie, white shirt, John Belushi style shades, and black shoes. They were taller than the guy in the middle, which was, I found out later, was Jimmy Hoffa. And to Jimmy Hoffa's left, what they were standing there, the 3 men were standing there. To their left, there was this guy, a construction worker. He was hammering on the concrete cement real loud, trying to drown the guy out from screaming, but I could still hear him screaming. And as I kept looking, I noticed there was this maroon-colored Mercury Marquis sitting behind them with his trunk up, lights on. Passenger driver's side door was partially open with this fat, chubby guy sitting behind the wheel, white guy. He had sideburns and he had the collars that we used to wear back in the day, the wide collars. And to their right behind them was this concrete cement truck. It had its backed in and on this dirt. All this was dirt, which was going to be the parking lot, the second parking lot of the building. It was like a ramp going down the dirt. And the cement truck was parked, backed up. The gurney was coming out the front of the truck. And then it curved around the side of the truck. And the ball was turning real slow on the truck. Real slow. So I'm still looking and listening to this man hollering and screaming for help. So they pushed him in the hole real fast. And all on the cement truck started turning real fast. And I could see the concrete cement gushing down the gurney into the hole. And at that moment, I looked to my right, and somebody approached me, a tall guy, about 6'3", white guy with dark black hair. He approached me and he pointed at me and said, "You better keep moving or you're going to be next." Took his John Belushi shades off, looked at me with these killer eyes. He had these hazel eyes. You could see dead people in his eyes. You can tell he had killed several people. He showed me his gun under his coat. He had this shoulder strap type holster on. And he said, "You better keep moving or you're going to be next." So I threw my hands up in the air. I said, "Man, you got to worry about me. I'm out of here." So as I walked away, I had my green Chuck Taylor tennis shoes on, All-Star, and my Levi blue jeans and my Harley Davidson t-shirt, black t-shirt, and my Jerry curl. We had just started wearing Jerry curls back then, and my shades. And I walked away about 15, maybe 10 or 15 feet. And as I walked away, I looked over my shoulder and I saw him coming at me real fast, full force. So I ran back over to Tower 400, which was already complete. And I saw this men and women's restroom, and so I ran into the men's restroom. I stood on top of the toilet. First stall, it had like 12 stalls back then. They only got 4 now. But I stood on the toilet shaking like Don Knotts, man, peeing on myself. I was so scared. As I was standing there on the toilet, they had like this 2 to 3 inch area at the bottom of the stall where you can see under. I saw his black shoes walk inside the doorway. He stood there about 2 or 3 seconds and just turned around and walked away. So I said, "Wow, all he had to do was kick the stall in and shoot me. I already had seen his gun." So he walked away. So I decided I'd get out the stall after he left, hoping he wasn't out there. I was so scared, man. I was hoping he was not out there where he could grab me. And as I opened the door to the stall, I didn't see him. I looked to my left, looked to my right, I didn't see him. So I went out the door and I looked to my left and I saw this door about 15, 20 feet down the hallway. I went down to that door, I opened the door, and as I opened the door, I saw this dirt. I saw the concrete cement truck, and I didn't see the maroon colored car. It was gone. But I could see where they had poured the concrete cement on top of this man. So I got scared, ran back in the building on the Atwater side of the building, Tower 400, on the Western End part. It's a Marriott now. It's a Western End back then. I went outside on Atwater Street over by the Canadian Tunnel. I look down by the Detroit River, and here comes this burgundy maroon colored Mercury Marquise, that 75 Mercury Marquise around the corner of Tower 400 real slow with his lights on. So I got scared again, ran back in the building, got in Tower 100, and got on the toilet stool top in Tower 100 for about 10 minutes. And then finally I got the courage to get out of there and go try to find my car because I forgot where I had parked my car. It was new to me, and I had just come up here to Detroit. The city is so big. I was overwhelmed with how huge it is in Detroit. But I finally found my car. I got back in my car, went back to Eastern Michigan, and I told my sister and my brother, my oldest brother, and his wife what I had just saw. I said, y'all not gonna believe this. I just saw a man get buried in the Renaissance Center, buried alive. They said, Mike, if I were you, I'd leave that alone, man. That's the mob, man. They kill you and our whole family. I didn't know what the mob was. I didn't know what Teamsters was. I found all that out later. So the next day, I spent the night over there until the 31st of July. The next day, I woke up and there was this breaking news flash on Channel 2, Channel 4, and Channel 7. Popped his big picture up on the screen saying former Teamster Union President Jimmy Hoffa is missing. I pointed at the TV again in front of my family. I said, wow, that's the guy I saw get buried yesterday downtown. And they said, Mike, leave that alone, man. That's the mob, man. They kill you and our whole family. So I went back to Benton Harbor. I ended up going to Ferris State College that year, that fall in September, after I had enrolled with my sister. We were all up in Ferris State, 75, having swim bashes with Kappa Alpha size and all that, having a ball. So I got caught pneumonia running around barefooted in the rain, caught pneumonia, had to drop out. But 2 years later, I ended up moving to Detroit in 1977. And because I was scared, I had cut my hair all off, bald-headed. I didn't want nobody to recognize me. But while I was living in the Jeffersonian apartments on East Jefferson, not too far from the Renaissance Center, I used to sit on the balcony facing east with my binoculars and my telescope. And I used to look down by this gas station down there on the street. And I used to see this old white guy look like Ozo, the clown, but it was the chief of the Jack-A.L.L crime family here in Detroit. I didn't know that, but I used to see him pumping gas down there on his way to Grosse Pointe. That's where he lived at. So one day I got on the Jefferson bus, went downtown, called myself enrolling at the Wayne County Community College, which is on Fort Street, on the west side of Detroit. I got off the bus downtown. I started walking down Fort Street. And as I crossed Fort and Shelby, I found out later that this was the mob's headquarters. I saw about 5 black long limos, Cadillacs, parked back to back with Mafia Company car license plates on them. And while I was looking at that, I looked over my shoulder, and this bushy-haired guy, the one that I told you I saw at the gas station, was following me. So when I turned around, he turned around real fast sideways and opened up his newspaper and put his head down in his newspaper like he was reading. Now, that scared the hell out of me because I'm thinking this man is following me. And come to find out, that's exactly who he was. That was the mob chief, Jack-A.L.L, Anthony Tony Jack-A.L.L, that was following me that day. I guess he was must have saw some surveillance cameras or something of me at the Renaissance Center and just kept that in his head. And he just really couldn't figure out who I was because I had cut all my hair off, trying to carry a low profile. I was already scared to come back up here to Detroit, but I came anyway because I didn't have nothing else to do. I dropped out of school, came up here looking for a job again. And I eventually got a job in Chevrolet Gear and Axle and Hamtramck, working with my sister on the assembly line in 1977. And back then, the unions and the Teamsters and stuff was really, really aggressive. They didn't want you to cross the picket lines or none of that. You know, I used to be so scared to go eat my lunch. I'd go in that hot bathroom at the plant, eat my lunch in the bathroom on the toilet, you know, and be burning up 110 degrees in the bathroom. But I'd be burning up in there because I was scared to cross the picket line, you know. And after 1977, I finally got another job working at Blue Cross Blue Shield downtown as a security guard. And you know, I had several odd jobs. I worked at the restaurant out by Northland Mall, called the Michigan Inn. I was a bus boy out there, making pretty good money. I saw Aretha Franklin. I saw the guy that Kunta Kinte that married Aretha, and I saw Thelma that played in Good Times. She was there. Her manager was there. But those two stories I don't want to talk about right now. I mean, it was interesting. Aretha Franklin and her wedding reception was interesting. They were butt naked with fluorescent paint all over. And Thelma, I tried to get her autograph, and she didn't talk to me because her manager said she don't talk to people. But she signed my napkin and put her name on it. That was interesting because I never talked to anybody that didn't want to talk to me back. You know, that was kind of strange, especially a celebrity, and I'm feeding them. But anyway, that's how it all went down.
Well, Brother Mike, thank you for sharing that rendition of what you experienced. It's incredible to listen to. And like I said, you've been amazing. And like I saw several versions of you telling this story. And you got a lot of other stories, like you said. I mean, I didn't know about the Aretha Franklin, though. She just, her passing, her anniversary of her passing was August the 16th. So, I mean,
Oh,
it's
is it?
interesting you brought up Aretha. Yeah, the queen. You know, I'm in Memphis. She was born in Memphis, but she was raised in Detroit. So that's a
Oh,
connection.
okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
her
no,
home is
I
still
got
standing.
relatives in Memphis too. You know, I told you I got relatives
Oh,
stay
yeah,
right
definitely. I
behind
mean, it's Memphis like
Elvis
Detroit of the
Presley's
South.
mansion.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got Stacks. I got Motown. You know what I'm saying?
you know what I mean. I
Yeah.
love Memphis, man.
I mean, it's a great place. Detroit is a great place too, but
Yeah,
that Hoffa story is very interesting, man. You've been consistent in telling that stories, you said, since 2002.
yeah. I finally came forward in November of 2002 to the FBI in Detroit, and for the last 23 years they have been ignoring my tip. I was thinking when I came to them in 2002 being a retired corrections officer working for the state of Michigan for 17 years, I would have some type of credibility with these people. But when I went down there, I went down there so much, man, they threatened to lock me up if I come back. I said, lock me up for what? Reporting a murder? And then, so after that, I went to the Michigan State Police. And but before I get into what we did in the building at the Renaissance Center, I can tell you this much. There was a fact find that the Michigan State Police came up with that the area where Hoffa is buried at in the Renaissance Center was 100% controlled by the mob. That construction contract,
Mm.
Turner Construction out of Chicago, was 100% mob controlled. But I believe the mob told Turner Construction to leave that work site that day because it was only like 7 people in the area. You know, that was the 3 mobsters, the concrete truck driver, the person who was hammering on the concrete cement, and me. So I think it was like just 6 people in the area, in this whole construction area. You know, it was
Mm.
like weird because it was just, I'm like, where's everybody at? You know? But anyway, it's 100% controlled by the mob. And December the 4th of 2018, I got Michigan State Police homicide. We went through the building, did a complete walkthrough of the
Mhm.
scenario of what had happened to me. And we had GPS and camera. And 6 months later, in June of 2019, somebody at the FBI in Detroit downtown called Michigan State Police and told them to cease and desist because it wasn't their jurisdiction. Now, the Michigan State Police has been working this Hoffa case since 1975. Okay, so I called down to the Michigan State Police post, and they said that to the homicide, they said they don't even have a cold case filed for Jimmy Hoffa.
Mm.
I was like, okay, well, and then the next thing I know, Channel 4, I was trying to get on a podcast for Channel 4 local news here in Detroit with Steve Garagiola. His father played Major League Baseball in New York for some Major League team. So they rich. So I went down there and I was invited in the studio. Steve interviewed me like I'm talking to you. And then he decided, well, you need to take a polygraph exam. So he swooped me up at my house, took me up to Saginaw, Michigan. I took a state police polygraph exam, and it came up inconclusive. So that means they couldn't tell if I was telling the truth or not. But by me saying this, is a white guy, Marvin Elkin, Jimmy Hoffa's limo driver.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Garagiola allowed him on his show to do an interview, and he didn't have to do a polygraph examination or nothing. And Marvin Elkin, all he did was heard something that Hoffa was buried at the building. He didn't see nothing. All he saw was a mad rush to pour concrete cement. That was it. I saw that because I was there too. And Channel 4 picked him up, Channel 2 picked him up, had an interview. And every time I called those radio stations, Channel 4, Channel 7, Channel 2, they tell me, well, we can't put you on live because without you having law enforcement backing. I was like, well, Marvin didn't have law enforcement backing. Y'all put him on TV. I said, what is this, some type of racist thing going on? Because I'm a black man trying to report a white man that got killed. I hate to throw in that race card, but that's how it looks, especially by me being a retired corrections officer for the state of Michigan. And I just don't understand it, man. When I walked in that office downtown and talked to those agents and drew a map, I first drew the wrong tower, Tower 400, because the building is built in a circular motion. I got confused, I'm up here in this big city. I didn't know it was huge. The longer you stay in a city, though, and around these big buildings, they get smaller and smaller. Just like working in a penitentiary or going to high school. When you first enter the building, when you're in high school, it's huge. When you stay in the 9th, 10th, 11th grade, it gets smaller and smaller. In the same way in prison, it looks like I worked there. It looked like it was so huge. But the longer I worked in there, the more that prison closed in on me. And that's the same way it was at the Renaissance Center, trying to figure out. You go in there, you'll see what I'm talking about. You get lost. Half the time, I couldn't even figure out how to get out of the building. That's how confusing it is.
Wow.
I finally figured out. I kept it in my mind throughout the years, man, and I refused to forget where this man was buried at. I just kept coming back up to the Renaissance Center, visiting the area, trying to make sure. And they put millions of dollars in it, trying to revamp it and change things around. And they got the bathroom. They ain't got 12 stalls no more. They got 4 stalls. They tried to disguise everything. They even changed the floor levels in some spots to make it look like, so I would forget where this happened at. But they put this man in the cornerstone of Tower 300. Every building has a cornerstone. The church has a cornerstone. Your master bedroom is a cornerstone in your house. Every building has a cornerstone. So they put this man in the southeast corner of the building, which is right on the river, right, almost right in the Detroit River. And now they're talking about tearing down Tower 300 and Tower 400. It's scheduled for demolition sometime the end of this year or sometime going into next year. So what I plan to do right now, what I'm trying to implement now, is a plan for me and law enforcement to go in there. I got 2 law enforcement agencies backing me and a private investigator. And we intend to go in there because I got a ground penetration crew and a drill crew ready to go in for $2,300, and a forensic DNA guy that's been working on the John Benet Ramsey case down in Boulder, Colorado. He's real good. He's got equipment that's worth over $400,000. He's got equipment that the FBI don't even have. So what we're trying to do is get in there with this forensics guy, because that car that they were driving, that 1975 Mercury Marquise, it's been parked under the McNamara building, the federal building, for the last 50 years. The only DNA evidence they have in that car is Chucky O'Brien, the driver, and some hair from Jimmy Hoffa. But if they discover some more DNA in that car, that would tell us who all was in that car. Like Thomas Andretta, I seen him at the scene of the crime. And when I had Fox 2 News down here, we did a walkthrough, and I'm on TV with Fox Nation with Riddle, the search for James R. Hoffa. We discovered new evidence. A hard hat stuck in the concrete cement, exactly where Hoffa's buried at. You can see through the glass where the hard hat is stuck inside of the concrete cement. And the only way that could have got there is if somebody came around and it was freshly poured at the time. The truck, the hard hat is stuck inside of the concrete cement. So that would give us DNA in that hard hat as well. So that's new evidence I gave to the FBI. And they don't never respond back to you when you try to talk to them. Sometimes you can talk to them over the phone, but then they get belligerent and say, yeah, bro, you've been calling us 30 times a month. What do you want us to do? Mm-hmm. I said, well, I just want you to go in there and do a non-intrusive search. And let's discover a void and do a intrusive search and drill in there for some DNA. They don't never tell you what they're going to do, but the case is always still under investigation. That's what this new guy, Gibson, is saying. He's been in there since 2023, black guy. And I wrote him a letter last week, certified letter, and I finally got the green card back about 4 days ago. But he didn't sign it, somebody else signed it. So I don't know if he got it or went in the trash along with 100 other letters I've sent down there. They don't tell you what they're going to do. All I know is they haven't been in that building and they haven't searched that building and they don't intend on searching that building. Because the word I've been hearing from retired FBI agents is that I'm not credible. That's the word. That's what they're saying. This black guy he ain't credible, he ain't believable. But it's funny, I'm the only person, dead or alive, that came to these people with a story like this. I'm the only person that told them that I saw this man get buried alive. I know what he looked like. I saw them push him in the hole and bury him. And at the same time, I almost lost my life. At the same time they was burying him, I had to run for my life from this mobster. And I don't think you'll find a story out there like that nowhere other than mine. If you do, let me know. I'm still waiting to hear something similar to mine. So far, these people think that my story is the least credible out here. And I think it's crazy. It's crazy. They did 9 digs in 50 years, 9 digs. And every time they did a dig, man, I called the FBI and told them, I said, y'all just wasting your time, energy, and resources. I mean, the man is not there. He's not in New Jersey. He's not under some stadium. He's not in some golf course getting pissed on, All of these are fictitious stories that they made up. He didn't get burnt up in an incinerator in Hamtramck. He didn't get hit in the head with a shovel or shot in the head with 2 bullets. They didn't stop at any other house with Hoffa. Came straight down Telegraph south, hit Grand River south, straight to the Renaissance Center in 32 minutes. That's how fast it took. About 32 minutes to get downtown from Bloomfield Township to downtown Detroit. And I believe when they stopped at the Raleigh House in Southfield, that's when they put him in the trunk, because we had 2 witnesses say that when they were pulling out of the Marcus Red Fox in Bloomfield Township, the driver identified Chucky O'Brien, knew him personally because he used to feed him and sit him down mob back in 1968 at Darby's on Lasher and East and West 7 Mile. That's how he knew who Chucky O'Brien was personally. Because they were looking at each other eye to eye as they was flying down Telegraph Road, trying to hold something down in the back floorboard with their knees up in their chest. That was them struggling with Hoffa in the back seat. And then they pulled up 5 minutes away from the Marcus Red Fox, threw him in the trunk, and proceeded on down Grand River, threw the man in that hole downtown. And the FBI don't believe me. You probably don't believe me. I mean, it's a lot of people who don't believe me, for one, because some people say, well, you don't look old enough to even be around at that time.
All right, black
okay,
don't
well,
crack.
I was here.
Yeah.
I was here. I'm 68 years old now. I was here. I just turned 18. But these old timers saying he don't look old enough to even be around when Hoffa was buried. I was just a kid, man. 18. I just turned 18. Okay. Half of those guys that killed him was like in their late 30s and early 40s. And, it was old cats to me, but they meant what they said, and they said what they meant. Back then, everybody feared the mob tremendously, more so than now. Well, all those folks that did that are dead. It was only like 5 people involved. Killed the truck driver. They killed some concrete cement driver. He was a black guy. I talked to his son about 15 years ago. He was at the bus stop talking on Gratiot. And we was talking about Jimmy Hoffa. And then all of a sudden he brought it up. He said, that was my daddy driving the cement truck that buried Hoffa. And guess what? They killed him. And then in 1980, my father-in-law, my sister's husband's dad, he owned his own trucking company in 1980. And he didn't want to merge with the Teamsters, so they killed him too. Shot him dead in his Eldorado, white Eldorado with red seats. So it was pretty rough back then, in the early 80s and the late 70s. They wasn't playing around, man. The Teamster stuff and union stuff was no joke. I've experienced it with my own eyes. And I've been terrorized ever since. The trauma don't go away. The older I get, the more I think about it, the more I want to solve this case, so I can put it behind me, and get the Yarbrough family and the Hoffa family some closure. But it just don't seem like that's going to happen, man, because, it's going to happen, but it's taking a sweet little old time. But I finally found a person in law enforcement that knows me personally. He's got a lot of pull around here. He's up there, up the ladder in politics and law enforcement. So we just might get something done around here. I've also introduced to him a mechanism that they should use here in Detroit to detect missing people. Like a GPS, put it in your shoes, put a tag around your toe, anything to figure out where our missing people are, and to put that same GPS system in all these guns to stop all this gun violence and all these fast donut driving cars around here. We need to track these people and stop these people from doing what they do. Okay, before somebody gets hurt, before some older person walk out of their house and can find them, before another person come up missing in this town, because we got every day you turn on the news, some young person, some lady, some man have disappeared. What they doing? Selling body parts still? I know they was doing that in Chicago, and they was doing that here in Detroit. They broke up a body parts place not too far from my house here. The guy was selling body parts, man. It's just so happened somebody saw blood leaking out the building and they went in there and searched the place and shut it down on Grinnell, Van Dyke, and Gratiot.
It's crazy.
Every day, not even thinking that was happening, but it was, And it's right across the street from the police impound, It's crazy.
Well, that's not surprising, because like Malcolm pointed out, wherever there's a lot of crime, police is around. Crime is organized. The law enforcement controls crime. They showed it in The Wire with that experiment called Amsterdam, where they controlled the drugs and stuff and the prostitution. But my thing, I want to back up to the Hoffa thing. You said a couple of things I want people to understand that's very important when they talk about credibility. Polygraphs are not permissible in court. They don't mean anything. Polygraphs don't mean anything. Marvin Elkin was Jimmy Hoffa's driver back in the 50s for 4 years, I believe. He was a gangster, Canadian gangster, law enforcement, police informer. But he said himself,
he was a boxer too.
He was a boxer. He was all that stuff. But he said himself they had a 3-day meeting at the Omni across from the Renaissance Center that was held by Tony Giacalone. And on the 3rd day, they broke for breakfast and they walked to the Renaissance Center. He told people, say hello to Jimmy boys. Basically saying the Renaissance Center is the final resting place for Jimmy Hoffa. And my thing about the FBI, they have no credibility. You were a correctional officer. You were in law enforcement for many years, and you have people in law enforcement that respect you, that believes in your integrity. The FBI has no integrity. The FBI is responsible for setting up Marcus Mosiah Garvey for deportation. The FBI gave the 4 plans to the Chicago Police Department to kill Chairman Fred Hampton Sr. of the Black Panther Party in his sleep, along with Defense Captain Mark Clark of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party back on December 4th, 1969. They proved that in a civil court trial that lasted for many years. And the government was found complicit.
I was with the Black Panthers. I was with the Black Panthers back then. I know. I was with them.
But also the gun that killed Dr. King came from the FBI.
Yeah, I know.
My friend Judge Joe Brown proved that the gun it came from the FBI. The FBI has no credibility when I'm talking about trying to solve what's going on. And also, they probably already know. My problem with the FBI, when they spend all that money digging around for Hoffa, they always dug around in the wrong places. Even on the horse farm, the gangster dude, he made the map. They dug in the other part of the horse farm. The Skywalk in New Jersey, they dug in the wrong place there. But
they dug in the right place in New Jersey in that dump. But what they found was not barrels. It looked like barrels, but it was truck rims, you know, same roundness of a barrel, but these were all truck rims that they found. But they're not telling the public that. But I know because I know what the FBI told me. They told me that.
Okay. So they dug in the right place.
Maybe I shouldn't be telling everybody that, but
I know.
That's what they found.
No, I think it's important because it's a frustration. They waste all this money. So they never really made an attempt to even go to the Renaissance Center in all these years, the 50 years, right?
Not one.
They never had an excavation or anything of the foundation.
Right, not one attempt. The only people that I've taken in that building to show them anything is Fox News, Eric Shine out of New York, the Michigan State Police in December of 2018. And recently I took Orion on TV in there from Orion, where Hoffa used to live at. And we took pictures in there and everything. I'm on his show. I got like over 260,000 views already in less than 2 weeks.
That's the show I saw, though. That's the show I saw that really. I mean,
you've
been
consistent in your story. Yeah, I was down on the river talking, and it was so hot. It was 96 degrees. I fell out. They had to put me on the bench and give me some water and some food. I didn't think I was gonna make it that day, man.
I'm glad you did, man.
You know, but when you get old, boy, that sun really get to you, boy.
Well, it's hot now, man.
That day when Hoffa got killed, you could fry egg on the ground, man.
But I'm gonna ask you this: do you think the reason they may not want to look at the Renaissance Center because that could have been a dumping ground it could have been a gangster's graveyard where they dumped a lot of bodies?
You know what? I talked to a psychic. I did a podcast for a psychic, and she flew from Finland all the way to Detroit because she was communicating with Hoffa's spirit, she said. And when she got in the building, she detected more than just one body in that building. She detected several bodies there in the building. But that's neither here nor there. You know, I know it's one in there, and they ain't trying to even go find it. You know, I know that much.
What about have you? I'm gonna ask you, have you reached out? Have you connected with Jimmy Hoffa's family, like his son and daughter? His daughter used to be a judge, a circuit court judge.
Yeah, when she was still in a bench down in Alabama, Arkansas, I called her and we talked briefly. And what she told me was the FBI instructed her and her brother, James Hoffa Jr., to send all the information over to the FBI. Now, mind you, the FBI is only one office that's handling the Hoffa case, and it's downtown Detroit. FBI. They're not doing anything. I mean, but they want anybody that say anything to them to tell them to come to the FBI. So that's what I've been doing, but for the last 23 years.
Right.
Nothing, not even an inkling of a thought to go down. That's kind of weird because my case, like I said, is about the only case I know of that's even remotely close to solving this case, and they don't even seem to be interested at all, man. I don't know why. When I was a journalist back in 1974 in high school, the first thing that we investigated as a journalist, a reporter, was eye-ear witness testimony. You know, and in law enforcement, you got the Banyan four-finger rule. You know, to convict a person, you got 4 things you got to find them guilty of. And 1 can send you to prison. That's an eye-ear witness, admission and confession, co-defendant testimony, physical or circumstantial evidence, DNA. One of those can send you to prison. You know, now you got law enforcement agencies around here ain't doing their job. They just sitting there eating donuts and digging up in their ass, man. Excuse my language. That's what they do. Especially these federal workers, that's what they do. They eat donuts and they stick their finger in the middle of the donut and dig in their ass. That's all they do all day and get all that money. It's a shame. That's a G-man for you.
Well,
Government.
let me ask you this, because I know you said you saw Chucky O'Brien, right, at the scene of the crime. Jimmy Hoffa's
Yes, sir.
stepson, but some people believe that's his biological son from his side chick, whatever, mistress at one point. But I want to show you this. I want to give you your take. I know I know you had talked to Scott Bernstein as well, who's a leading expert on the Hoffa situation.
Yeah,
And he
allegedly.
Allegedly. Allegedly. I want to show you this though. I just want to give you a check. I think it's interesting because they say we all got doppelgangers, that people that look like us, you know, out there in the world. Now here's the thing, man. What do you think about that? That's Chucky O'Brien, right? And also that's the guy that Scott Bernstein said took out Hoffa, Tony Powell, Palazzo, whatever his name is, with the Detroit family.
Yeah, Tony Palazzolo.
Yeah, but they look like
Tony wasn't nowhere around.
There wasn't. You sure that wasn't Tony at the scene?
No, like I said, Mr. Tubman's father used to seat Chucky O'Brien in the Jackalones back in 1968 at Darby's restaurant, which was an Italian restaurant. And he used to seat all the monsters. He used to have to come to the table and, you know, find out what they wanted on the menu, what type of food they eat. And he would go back and tell the chef what to cook all those people, you know, for their special plates. And Chucky used to frequent the building quite frequently. So I'm sure Mr. Tubman know who he was staring at driving that car that day. And,
okay, so
I found out that this was the guy that was driving. I saw his picture in the mob book Scott Bernstein had written at the library. When I opened the book, that's when I identified Chucky O'Brien behind the wheel, and that's when I identified Thomas Andretta of the Genovese crime family out of New Jersey. And I could swear up and down his brother was the one on the right side holding Hoffa by the arm, Stephen Andretta. But I couldn't really tell because he had those John Belushi shades on from 15 to 20 foot distance. I couldn't really tell, but his face looked just like Stephen Andretta to me. I couldn't tell who the guy was on the left side, but I know damn well that sure looked like Stephen Andretta holding him by the arm.
Okay. Y'all saying
they're all dead now. They're dead. You know.
Oh yeah. But at the top, this Chucky O'Brien. I want to let people know those pictures at the top is Chucky O'Brien, and the ones at the bottom is Tony Powell. That Scott Bernstein said killed Hoffa, but you said he was nowhere near that scene on July 30th of 75.
No, and Scott Bernstein want to put a bow on this case and say it's over because he know who killed him. He think Tony Powell killed him, and he think Tony Powell put him in a meat grinder and grind him up. You can't even put a body in a meat grinder and grind it up. It'll shut down immediately. Bones and everything wouldn't go through it. And the meat have to be soft. It can't be all tough. You know, it has to be, hamburger meat has to be not cold. It has to be the right temperature to go through a meat grinder. So where he got this information from, he said some wiretap or something he heard Tony Powell's confessing and all this to the FBI. All that's made up, man. If he was confessing, he was trying to throw them off track to believe something else. You know, the whole scenario was to get the attention from downtown Detroit in the first place. Because one, Thomas Andretta knew that there was an eyewitness that saw him there. So they had to immediately find a way to get the attention away from Detroit. And that's what they did. They went to the prison, told Ralph Picardo, who was locked up. He was a former soldier for the Genovese crime family. They told him, and he made up this lie and said he got shipped to New Jersey in a 55-gallon drum on a gateway transportation truck. And Dan Modillo, with his stupid behind, followed that lead, went on with Eric Shine on Riddle to search for James R. Hoffa. and steered all the attention to New Jersey under the Hackensack Bridge or something. And that's where they found all these truck tires buried. They thought the survey was barrels, but when the FBI dug down in there, they saw all these truck tire rims, truck rims, not big truck rims, about the same size as a barrel.
Right.
That's what they found, but it ain't out there to the public because the FBI came from the FBI's mouth, and they didn't put it out there. I just heard it from the FBI.
Let me ask you this, man. You've been on this, like you've been telling your truth for the last, I believe, 23 years, right? Correct? You've been out letting people know through social media and to the feds and all that. Is it really important to solve what happened to Jimmy Hoffa? How does this affect us in the present? Why is it so important to solve this case?
Well, for one, it would eliminate people from having to go through what I'm going through, trying to prove a point or issue as to what they witnessed that happened to someone. If we could avoid all of that. And for two, it's opening up the door to, with all this new technology that they have now, GPS and all of that. I've introduced that to the Detroit police recently, to the chief, and they're implementing a program here called the Emerald Alert 365, where the public can input all their information immediately when someone walks away from home with dementia, come up missing. These kids and grown people come up missing. They can find them immediately. And my thoughts in that mindset was to, like I said, put a band around people's toes, or GPS band, or put a round thing up under the sole of their shoes, and some kind of way to detect where you are. They put them on cars, they put them on, they put chips in dogs and stuff to try to figure out where they are. Why they can't do it? I mean, as long as they don't put it in our forehead and on our, mark of the beast, I think I'm cool with that. But we need to find out where these guns are, who has them, why all these crimes are coming up with people getting killed, shot with these guns, black people. They need to put a GPS in all these weapons, man, these ARs and these Tracos and all that stuff, man, pistols, so we know who doing what without shot spotter. They come quickly with the shot spotter when they hear shots. Cops come maybe 5 minutes, 2 minutes. They need something to be able to detect these gunshots quicker and who got guns quicker. And the way I can figure that out is put a little small device, small. It can be like big as a piece of rice. Find out who's doing this, man. Who's doing these donuts in the middle of our streets with these fast cars and all that. We need to cut down on crime. Period. I'm sick of it. You're probably sick of it in Memphis. Everybody's sick of it, man. Every day you turn on the news, somebody got killed.
Right.
Tired of looking at it, man. Back in the day when I was coming up, we barely heard of anybody getting stabbed with a knife. Look at it now. Look at it now.
Wow.
It's crazy. And it's the sad part about it is something can be done about it. We have the technology to do forensic DNA to find who's buried where or whatever. But the police won't even go in there and find this man to do that. So here I am. I got a guy that does forensics. He's working on the John Benet Ramsey case. They done found 2 or 3 people that had something to do with killing that little girl. And the police pushing it under the rug because, like you say, it's bigger than all of us, man. It's the drug cartel from down there that's running the Boulder, Colorado Police Department. Wow, and it's just, it's bigger than the both of us. I had a couple of state troopers that I went to school with, church with. We all grew up together. I used to tell them about this Jimmy Hoffa thing, and I used to go up to the patrol car, state police car, when they was working. They lieutenants and captains. They retired, not just like me, but they said, Mike, bigger than the both of us, man. I hate to read about you floating down the Detroit River head first. So I said, huh? Now I'm thinking, we all done graduated out the same academy in Lansing, Michigan State Police Academy. We all about the same age, graduated in 75, 76. What's really going on? They black brothers, riding in the parade. You know, I'm standing over here watching the parade in Benton Harbor, and I see them ride down the street. You know, so he stopped the car. I went up to the window and started chit chatting with him, talking about this thing. You know, in the middle of the parade.
Right.
And that's what they told me, man. They said, man, it's bigger than the both of us, man. Leave that alone, man. Hate to read about you floating down the Detroit River head
I'm
first.
gonna tell you why this kind of that's not gonna happen, because like I used to be friends with Bobby D. Gregory for 6 years. He
Yeah.
always did this. He said when somebody used to tell him a secret, he make everybody know about it. He made sure you tell like 500 or 1,000 people about it, because like if they try to do that to you, it will just confirm that you was actually telling the truth. You see what I'm saying? They'd rather character assassinate you, and this, you know, they not gonna do that because they not gonna give that type of what you saying validity. Because if they did happen to you, if you did disappear like that, that will confirm to the world this dude been telling the truth for 23 years. That they got Jimmy Hoffa at the Renaissance Center. I do not believe he ever left Detroit area. I don't. What's the point? Because it's Detroit family. This is not Chicago outfit. This is not even the Genovese. This is the Detroit family architect. This.
Yeah, they did.
And was made by Detroit mob, right? He was made by Detroit. He was made by Kroger.
Right, and that's why Scott Bernstein. That's why Scott Bernstein is insisting that it was not an East Coast thing. You know, it's East Coast bias. He's saying it was a Midwest thing. You know, why would the Jackalones allow the Genovese crime family to come in Detroit and do their cleanup work? Well, they fail to realize that the Provenzanos and the Jackalones are relatives.
Right, it's a family affair.
The family is a family thing. And he failed to realize that Provenzano and Hoffa got to fighting in prison about that, you know, pension money and stuff, you know.
Right.
So Scott's on track a little bit, but he's off track a little bit. You know, he just stuck on
he got
Jackalones refused to let somebody come in this city and do their dirty work for them. And that's where he's wrong. And the reason why it's wrong, because he didn't see Thomas Andretta try to kill me. I saw Thomas Andretta here, okay? But he will not mention Thomas Andretta's name, not one bit. One bit.
Wow.
But he ain't gonna say.
I got actually think about the Irishman movie, that the Irishman with the, you know,
the Irishman, Frank Sheeran, he was in Philadelphia with Buffalino, the mob boss in Philadelphia, and he was there with Fat Tony Salerno, who called the hit out of New York. Salerno was the mob boss for the Genovese crime family. And they were trying to talk to Hoffa and tell him to take his pension fund money and go enjoy his family and stuff, and let Fitzsimmons run the organization, the Teamsters, because they could get more money. You know, it was better cash cow, or rather, whatever you want to call it. But Hoffa refused to back down. You know, that's why they sicked Frank Simmons on him. I mean, that's why they sicked Frank Sheeran on him. And they also, Hoffa's driver, Marvin Elkin, tried to talk him out of not running, but he told Marvin, my people would never harm me. Told Marvin that. So he thought the mob was his people, man. The mob was his people in a sense. You know, he had a lot of business dealings with them, but he didn't hear them say, and he didn't hear Nixon say, which was one of the head, to me, he was one of the biggest mobsters in the White House. He let Hoffa out of prison in 1971 and told him distinctively not to run until 1980. Hoffa wanted to run in 1976 because he knew that it was getting ready to be a bicentennial year for one. You know, the Renaissance Center was getting ready to open up. Renaissance meaning a new birth for the city. He wanted to be union president in 1976. So I guess the mob figured, hey, 1976 is a good year to put Hoffa in the Renaissance Center, make it a new death instead of a new birth. So that's what they did.
I'm
put him in the cornerstone of the building.
Yeah. No, I would say
put
like
him in the cornerstone of the building.
Yeah, putting in cornerstone. My thing is Jimmy Hoffa was like how they portray him in the media. I don't think is all true, because he could tell them no. He told them no. That's the problem. He told the mob no a couple of times. Like he wanted to run again, right? even with the pension fund thing, he made sure they paid it back with interest. They didn't rob the teams when he was there. Even they invested in Vegas, they had to pay it back with interest. They did that. And they was offering millions of dollars to buy him out, right, to shut him up. And he didn't want to take the money. That means he had, dare I say, some integrity. He had a certain principle. Because I look at what happened to the union movement. You look at 1999 when the Democrats and Bill Clinton, they sold out the union movement for NAFTA. Jimmy Hoffa was about America first, as far as I'm concerned. And those type of people, you don't want no patriots around like that that really thinks about helping elevate the working people. I mean, this system sold out the working class people. It sold out the middle class. Jimmy Hoffa was able to make working class people middle class folk. And he's a problem. Why I say it's funny, like the people they portray as villains are not really the villains they make them out to be. Like all the people like John Brown, he was a villain. Nat Turner was a villain. Huey Long was a villain. Anybody that's for the everyday people or for the people from the bottom, from the mud, they are labeled as villains. Cause he came from Klan country, right? You know, Jimmy Hoffa was from Klan country, but he was about helping people, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was down there with where the Ku Klux Klans originated from. Steuben County area, you know.
Yeah, man.
Steuben County,
Klansville.
Klan Central down there, buddy. Shoot, I'm from down that way. Ben Harbor, it ain't too far. Indiana, right
they was back in the 20s and 30s when Hoffa was coming up.
I partied in South Bend, Indiana, for many years. You know, but you know the white people love you down there now. You know, since 1980, they love you.
Well, you know what? It's funny you say that because I think about Isaiah Thomas talked about when Bobby Knight visited his people in Chicago to recruit him. And his mama asked him, "Can you protect my baby from the Klan?" He said, "As long as he's winning, they'll protect him. The Klan will protect you as long as you're winning. If you win a game for Indiana," he said the Klan will protect them. He don't have to worry about as long as he keep winning.
That's right.
He told the truth. America's like that. But I say, like, it's nothing new because I always talk about people what's going on now. What was going on 100 years ago in America? They were marching down the street in D.C. in Klan uniforms. The Klan was marching down New York City, in Manhattan, in Queens. So, I mean, what's hell? Nothing changed. Nothing really changed.
In the 70s, they tried to march down here in Detroit, and everybody got on top of the buildings downtown with shotguns and rifles, and they backed on back the other way. This was right after Hoffa got killed.
They did that in D.C. back in 1919. When they called the U.S. military to attack black people in D.C. the summer of 1919, black folks fought back. And Woodrow Wilson had to call time out. We don't talk about stuff like that. They don't tell us about our real history. We fought back. We still fighting back. Well, I'm glad, brother, that you standing 10 toes down. But also, you got you've been in films and you're an actor. So, like, you know, I mean, I want to believe you. I believe you, actually. You do a great job of telling the story. So do people use that against you? They say, oh, he got a background in making movies and stuff and acting.
Yeah,
they try to
I've been in the movie with I've been in the movie with Clifton Powell and Melvin Jackson Jr. 5K1. I was an FBI agent in the movie, taking down.
Interesting. You got a lot of study on them in real life.
Taking down the SMB in Southwest Detroit, a drug gang. You know.
Wow.
But you know, like if you read my, if you listen to my audio, a lot of my background is around gangsters. You know, here in Detroit, half of my family members was Young Boys Incorporated.
Oh wow!
I used to go with a girl. Her brother was one of the ringleaders of Young Boys. You know? But you be around that kind of stuff in your life, even though you're not affiliated with them and doing the drugs and selling the drugs. You see a lot of things. You see a lot of people. And then when I started working in the prison, I started seeing all those people that was out there around me. Like half of them either dead or locked up. You know what I'm saying? And it's really sad. You know, I used to put them young boys back in high school, man, after they used to sell drugs and stuff, because I didn't want to see them out there selling drugs. So I act like they uncle and put them back in school, pulling them out of the middle of 8 Mile, thinking they could stop cars on that blue mescaline, all kind of stuff, man. People surprised what these people will do to these young kids to get $1. I tell you, it's crazy. Butch was something else.
Man, he got like I said, I listened to several different podcasts. You got an amazing life story, man. You are a really survivor and a thriver. But I want to get to the question. Some of you got some good questions for you. I want to get this. It said, did the International Brotherhood of Teamsters have black members when under Hoffa's leadership?
You said the International Brotherhood did what?
Did they have black members when Hoffa was running stuff? Did they have black members in the International Brotherhood of Teamsters?
Well, like I said, you know, my father-in-law was a independent trucker, and they killed him because he didn't want to merge with the Teamsters. So what did that tell you? He was a black man. You know, so if you're going to call that helping, this was in 1980, 5 years after Hoffa got killed. If you want to call that being a helper to blacks, and call it what you want. But to me, I think you ought to be able to run your own company business without all that violence and stuff, you know, or intervening with the main organization. You know, why you can't have your own independent trucking company without all that union crap in it? You know, like I said,
so you're not really pro-union. You're not pro-union, huh? You're not pro-union at all?
No, I was in the union every job I had. I was paying union dues, man, $35 a month. I'm for the union. Now, when I was working in the prison, I was with the union. I swear, you know, they help you. They're good for you. They help you keep your job, especially if you get in trouble. But other than that, if you don't get in no trouble, don't need them, then you're just paying union dues.
Okay, that's good. That's interesting. It's like America. This is America, so it got some complexities to it. You know, unions were originally started to keep black folks from being employed. They started unions originally to keep black people from getting employment in this country because after the Civil War, the most skilled labor class were emancipated black people. Because we're not just slaves. We built the homes, we're the architects, we the engineers, we the carpenters, we're the farmers. So we're the most skilled class of people in the country post-Civil War. And so
we built the White House, we built the Capitol. Yeah, we built the White House and the Capitol in Washington.
Yeah, built all that. This is our stuff. A black man helped design DC. Somebody, they also said, I joined the Teamsters in '93 through UPS. Yeah, the union for UPS helped a lot of brothers out. My uncle got help a lot by being a part of UPS and the Teamsters. They helped them negotiate. He got a good pension. So I mean, it's pros and cons. That's why it's good to have these type of discussions. But also, you had people like Walter Reuther of United Auto Workers. They killed him too. They killed him in that plane crash. I read the report on that. They said it was an accident, but it was missing plane parts, and plane parts was in wrong places.
Yeah.
Who okayed that plane to take off? So they murdered Walter Reuther. I mean, you had Walter Reuther, then you had Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah. And Hoffa started at Kroger's on 8 Mile.
Kroger's made Hoffa. I always tell people Kroger's made Hoffa, not the mall. He was made by Kroger's.
Yeah, I mean, he let them strawberries roast in the sun, you know, to get the union going, you know. But right today, the Michigan State Police watches that store every day.
It's still open. Wow.
It's still open.
I love Kroger's. I go shop at Kroger's, man.
Yeah.
Probably tomorrow I'm going to Kroger's.
And guess what? Right across the street from that Kroger's, I met this young lady, and her brother was one of the ringleaders of Young Boys Incorporated. He's selling heroin right across the street. I say, ain't this
like Detroit got amazing gangster history, especially with black gangsters, man. I love to hear him story. How accurate is that BMF series? How accurate was that? Did you watch that 50 Cent produced?
Well, I was told, was that with Big Meats? Was that with Big Meats? Yeah, I was told that it was somewhat a copycat of Young Boys Incorporated, you know. But I really didn't get off into Big Meats that much back then. You know, I was in school. You know, I really wasn't trying to pay attention to all that gangster stuff out in the street. I was told that it was like a copycat of Young Boys.
I mean, also you had the Best Friends. Y'all had some amazing
Chambers Brothers. They had Tony Down, they had Earl Flynn's, they had BK's.
Maserati Rick.
Yeah, I was at UBQ one night when Maserati Rick rolled up. Everybody on the dance floor stopped dancing to go to the door to see what kind of car he was driving. I
That's
ain't
so
never seen nothing like it, man. And then they come through the door throwing up $300 worth of singles and stuff. Man, they said let them young boys roll. You know, they roll right on into the cemetery, roll right
yeah, he
on
was
into
in
the
the
church,
Mercedes,
right on
right?
into the funeral home. You know,
They had a
huh?
Mercedes casket, right? They had him in
Yeah,
the
they had a
casket, look like
Mercedes
a
cat.
Mercedes. That's crazy, man. And his
Yeah,
own, the best friend set him up, right? It was the like you ever met Daniel Boonecraft, that guy, the
yeah.
hitman?
Boone Crab, I know
Yeah,
him. You
man.
know,
Oh my God.
I know Boone. You know, Boone was he was one with the A-Team. You know, with
Uh-huh.
Kurt McGirt. Now, you know, they was with them young boys on the east side. You know, they was rolling, man. You know,
So
anytime some
somebody asked the question, was they are those the brothers who wore the straw hats, the Young Boys Incorporated? Did they wear
yeah,
straw hats?
yeah, they wore the campaign hats, the top tens, they had got the name of the coats. But they used to wear the coat with the fur around them, man.
Uh-huh. Man, your
He
guys
was
was
hooked
something
up.
else, boy.
He was hooked up. You know, they was cut like that. You know.
But you know what's crazy, man? Coleman Young had to have some federal protection, man, because ain't no way why he didn't go to prison, man. All this, I mean, you got Gil Hill, the cop that
Yeah,
was Eddie Murphy's boss in Beverly. I didn't know he was a gangster like that, man. Allegedly, Gil Hill was
yeah.
sitting
You
out
got to know.
contract, was
You got to know them cats, man, was with the mob. You know,
it? Mm-hmm.
they with the Jack Loans. They was, you know, they was all friends, buddies with Thomas Hearn, all of them, man. They was all connected, you know, in the
Mm.
boxing era and all that, Olympia Stadium, and you know, Bobo Brazil is my first cousin. You know, my uncle's my oldest uncle's son. So we
Mm.
used to all get in free and watch them wrestle. And
Wow, man.
I was down there in '79 when Thomas Hearn, '78 when he
Hitman.
rookie. You know, he
Mm-hmm.
was tearing their heads off down there.
Yeah,
You know,
that was a golden era of boxing right there, man.
but we was out there, man.
Uh-huh.
We was hanging out, singing under shade trees in the Brewster Projects with a bottle of Wild Ass Rose and purple Kool-Aid, having fun, trying to get to Motown. You know, Motown. That's where we want to go.
Uh-huh.
Now here I am. I'm singing. I've been singing with the Enchantment, David Banks and Enchantment. I know the Floaters, Childs. I know his daughter. Man, I know all of them, man. I can get in backstage passes and anywhere I want to go, me and my wife, because I'm connected with the
Wow.
entertainment industry. I'm connected with the movie industry. And now I've been connected for the last 50 years with this Hoffa crap, you know? That's one thing I want to put behind me, though. You know?
So, like, I mean, I ask you this: how much would it cost? Do you know how much it would cost to do what you want to do with the Renaissance situation? How much would that cost in total? You think, or you know,
To go in there and
or do
find
it?
this
Yeah,
guy,
do everything you said and try to find
$2,300 out of my pocket, you know?
$300,
2,300.
2,300 just to do all that, just to do that.
Yeah, all I got to do is get, like I said, somebody with a badge to contact the owner of the building, Dan Gilbert, a billionaire. He bought it from General Motors, and General Motors moved in his new building. And all he has to do is give us permission to do a warrantless search. You don't need no warrant from the federal court or anywhere else to go on a private property and search it. Just
Mm-hmm.
need his permission. So we're working on that. And once we get his permission, we in.
Are you gonna do like a documentary or a movie about this? I mean, are you gonna film
Well,
it?
I hope to do a docu-series, and it's going to be based on my past 30 years of my life. What you heard on that audio is going to pretty much be my
I mean,
documentary.
I'll definitely look for. I would love to watch. And
You
when
know?
you, hey, I try and get on Netflix or something, on Hulu or
Yeah,
something.
we're going to go to Netflix. If my man don't pass away before we get this done, this forensic guy that's doing the John Benet Ramsey case, he's in
They
bad
got
health.
they got a docu series on Netflix on the John Bonet. Is he involved with that?
Yeah, he's
Was he
involved.
involved with that project?
Yeah, for the
Okay.
past 10, 15 years. He's been all on the Inquirer magazine. His face is all over the place. You can find him on Finding Hoffa, Finding Jimmy Hoffa on Facebook.
Okay. And how can we connect with you, man? I thought you had a book. You got a book out about your amazing life, man. Because you really
Well,
like you don't
I'm
understand
working
how
on
amazing your life is.
I'm working on it. It's going to be called Benchmark Murder,
Mhm.
cornerstone of the last chapter. Because
Wow.
I feel like my story is going to put an end to all these different Hoffa theories. We're going to close the case. We're going to get some closure here because they ain't going to look no further. Once we go in that building, that's it.
But they're making
You know?
too much money keeping stuff
Yeah.
going, though. That's the thing. You're gonna stop them from
So
having
they're
money.
making a lot of money, and I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of people being implicated. Might be opening up a can of worms here, man. There's a lot of things going on where they don't want to really find this guy. I don't know if it's going to disgrace the mob family, the Jackalones, or what. But maybe they're going to find more bodies. I don't know. But it's a deep situation.
I
I
think
carry
it's gonna
my
be more.
gun
Yeah,
every day.
it's gonna
I
find
carry
more
my
bodies.
weapons every day, man. I don't know what's going to happen. You know, it's a dangerous situation.
It is, but I think the more you put yourself out there and talk about this, they're gonna be afraid to touch you like that. Because even if a car accident happened, people say, "Oh, they got rid of him, man." You know, there was no car accident. I don't believe in no accidents anyway. That's just me. I don't believe no plane accidents. I don't believe no car accidents. I don't believe in dying of natural causes because they doing all this stuff to us to poison us. How can it be natural when they put plastic and everything in your food? How is
You got
that
a point
natural?
there.
Not natural. Okay, you live 100.
That's
So I mean,
impossible.
I believe. I feel when I first saw that video when you went to the Renaissance Center, I said, "This dude tell the truth." I can't
Yeah.
prove it. I feel like this dude know what he's talking about. I can believe that should be a movie by itself, a feature movie. Who
Yeah.
would you like to play you in the movie? Who would you
Who,
want? Would you
me?
want to play yourself, or who would you like?
If I did a movie on this particular thing, my life, it would be a kid in 1965 growing on up, you know, a 9-year-old, starting off as a 9-year-old back in 1965 when I witnessed those serial killings in Ben Harbor.
You know what I'm saying? You talk. It's so much that we didn't even touch on. Like I
All
know,
the way up to
like
1980, all the way up to 1985. You know,
yeah,
I've been traumatized for over 30 years, and it ain't funny, but it's
yeah,
true.
it
It's the
is.
truth. You know,
This
everything you
serial
heard
killer
me
thing.
say is not fiction. It's nonfiction.
Yeah, but that serial killer thing
So
you
good.
talked about in the podcast, it's like I know stories. It's so many stories of us being traumatized as Black people.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I hear stories from my uncle and aunts. I remember at a time when I was a little kid, they didn't want us to go in people's house to spend the night over. So I learned horror stories, what happened to people being molested, you know, all types of stuff
right.
from
You hear
so-called
all these
family,
things, see all
friends,
these
and
things as you
role
grow up,
models. Yeah.
you know, and you don't forget it.
Mm-mm.
You know, you don't want to talk about it. A lot of people don't want to talk about it, but I am.
Yes, sir.
A
I'm
lot of
glad you're
people
talking
say,
about
man,
it.
why don't you forget about all that, man? You don't, get that out your conscious mind. You know,
Right.
I've been so busy trying to intertwine my conscious mind and my subconscious mind together so I can remember what actually happened
Mm-hmm.
back then. Because I spent a lot of years, 27 years, trying to put it out of my mind because everybody kept telling me to forget about it, man. You're gonna kill everybody killed. You know, and then when I started coming around to me and I started intertwining that stuff, my conscious mind to my subconscious mind,
Mm-hmm.
I started remembering stuff, man, like, wow, that's what happened.
Mm.
But a lot of people say, oh, you just piggybacking on what you heard happen, it's read in a book. Nah, that's what happened because it came through my eyes and I remember seeing it in my mind. I remember seeing exactly what I saw and exactly what I said. Now, I don't want to go around saying I'm 100% correct because then people will think I'm crazy because they got forensics that does that. You got to go through forensic DNA to prove that the person is 100% correct. So I can't say I'm 100% correct, but I can say this. I know where the location is and I know who that person was that got killed. And I know I almost lost my life that day to the person that I told you his name was, Thomas Andretta. Know that person behind that wheel of that car was Chucky O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
Now, take it on his face if you want, however you want to take that. That's your opinion. But I know what I saw. I saw what I saw. And they say, see something in law enforcement, say something. Okay?
Mm.
They contradicting themselves because when I seen something and said something, they threatened me and said they wanted to lock me up if I come back
Right.
down there. So what's really going on? You know?
But hopefully
Is it
Dan
the
Gilbert
same?
will have an open mind and let y'all do y'all thing.
Yeah.
Cause he's from Detroit, right? He's a Detroit guy, right?
Who's that?
Dan Gilbert. He's a Detroit guy.
Dan Gilbert I think he's a Detroiter. Yeah, he is.
I know he owned the
Billionaire.
Cavs, so at one point owned the Cavs, but yeah, he's a Detroit guy. Okay.
He's a billionaire, you know what I mean? But most of those rich cats is with the mob, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, they got their little own thing. Cause I read somewhere, Bugsy Siegel, who helped, usher in Las Vegas and stuff. He didn't find Las Vegas. he kind of upgraded it a little bit. They said this man owned 800 acres of land that became known as Las Vegas Strip. He had 800 acres in his hand. I don't think they killed him over the casino. I think they killed him over the land. Because that land is worth billions and billions of dollars. He would have been one of the wealthiest people in the world had he lived past the age of 41. I think they killed him because the casino was making a profit. I think they got the land from him. He used that other money he was skimming and bought that land.
Well, Jack Alone's owned the land on Jefferson and Connors, man. They bought it for $500,000. And now Chrysler, Jeep, and all that owns that property. But they bought it from the Jack Alone's for $500,000 back in '84. So that's what the mob do, you know?
Right.
And look at the big corporations that bought it, you know? One of the big three. You know, Chrysler. You know? Look all the money they making off that property.
The government is a real mob. They the big mob. We talking about they're the big mob. They the big boys.
I mean, you know, property was real cheap back in the '80s, you know, early '80s.
So they're probably worth how much billions of dollars now? Is that worth billions of dollars?
They were billions.
500,000 back in the '80s.
Yeah. Imagine that.
They know a lot of people went up to Michigan and places like that. They got ran off their land down in Mississippi and stuff. You know, they got ran off. You had black landowners had to leave for their lives from Mississippi and places like that.
Oh, I believe
they just took our land. Our land got forfeited, you know, like, you know. Man, we went through a lot of stuff. We've been through a lot of stuff as a people, man. And just listen to you talking about this story.
We don't get no kind of reparation or nothing for all our pain, our ancestors' pain and suffering. It's sad, but the Indians did, the Jews,
Japanese, everybody but black people.
Why we can't? Everybody but black people.
They owe us too much, though. Like, I think about how will America. They think about Motown. Man, think about Motown. How will America sound like without the soundtrack created by Motown or Stax or places like that? Philly International. The things that we bring with the sports and the music and the culture. Black America will be nothing without Black American natives, man. It'll be nothing without us. And yet we think that we don't, supposed to have nothing. Or they think we don't supposed to have nothing. And the fact that you as a black man might be on the verge of solving a crime that they said could never be solved. And that you're putting yourself out there for
that's unimaginable.
Like that.
That's unimaginable to white.
Yeah, but we always been doing that though.
First of all, I don't think they want to see a black man get that kind of fame and glory. That's a famous thing to do, you know.
But with the light bulb though, it was Lewis Latimer that made the filament that made it work, and also Lewis Latimer created the first telephone for Alexander Graham Bell. His folks were born to slavery. That's who we are, man. We are the chosen people, man. We are those people, man. And everybody hates.
It's gonna show one
time. Man, but I ain't gonna hold. But
they just found out Jesus was black and Moses.
And you know what's funny too? I went to see Jimmy Carter do his Sunday school about 10 years ago down in Plains, Georgia, and they talk about what color Jesus was. Yeah. You don't know that Jimmy Carter's blood cousin is Berry Gordy, the founder of Motown. They cousins.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, I mean,
they just found out the Pope
around black people.
They just found out this new Pope has got black blood in it.
Yeah, he don't want to claim it, but we everywhere, man. We've been had black popes.
They done turned the whole about face with the Pope. They shot. It's like looking at a Dave Chappelle movie. Dave Chappelle come out there talking about he white. He's a white man. You ever saw that Dave Chappelle show?
Oh, that was the first episode. That was classic. Yeah. And that's crazy, man. But
they found out he was two cousins saying he was black.
Yeah. I remember
Chappelle is funny to me.
That's genius. But what is the best way for us to find out more about you, to keep in touch, to follow you, Brother Michael, on your journey? What's the best way for the people to connect with you?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said, what's the best way for the people to connect with you on your journey, to like support, and also just to, be informed, stay informed? What's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Oh, I think the best way to stay informed with me is probably to find me on Facebook, under Michael Yarbrough. You see my badge, my corrections officer badge. That's my page.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also find me on. I'm on a lot of podcasts. So
Oh, definitely. That's how I found you. I love it. Keep on
other
telling
than
those
that,
stories. Tell your story, man.
other than that, you can contact me at MikeMoney369@gmail.com. Email me.
Say MikeMoney369@gmail.com.
Yeah, MikeMoney369@gmail.com.
Okay, that's beautiful, man. Any closing thoughts for this session? We appreciate you so much for taking time out your Monday night to share these gems with us, man.
Well, I appreciate you having me by, man, and hopefully we'll solve this case soon as possible. Keep your eyes and ears open for the
Yes,
latest
sir.
news. We ain't gonna stop until we get it done.
That's right. Don't stop till we get enough, huh?
Right.
Happy Black August, man.
Got
Thank you
that
so much,
right.
Brother Mike. In the words of Duke Ellington, we love you madly. In the words of Brother Ron, keep on producing and pushing. And we'll see you in the whirlwind, brother. Keep on, man. God got you.
Well, thanks, man. Keep your prayers. Keep my wife and me in your prayers, man.
Most definitely, man. It's
Thank you.
spiritual warfare out here, but we
Same
already
here.
got the victory.
You got that right.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
a lot, man, for inviting me on your show.
It's an honor. I'm gonna have you on again. I hope you don't. I mean, before you blow up too big for me, but it's an honor to have you on, man. Cause I want the people to hear from you
Yeah,
what
I
I
never
was
get
able
too
to.
big to holler at you, brother, because we brothers. We brothers. I
I
never get too
appreciate it.
big. Even though I've been acting with Clifton Powell, Melvin Jackson Jr., and Ernie Hudson wanna be my executive producer, and I've been talking to Denzel Washington about doing this movie, and we're just
Excellent.
gonna keep it going, man. We're gonna keep it moving, It's just all
Good.
about them
Yeah,
finances right now. But we're gonna do
I'm
the
glad to
thing.
hear
We're gonna
that.
do the thing.
Yes,
Spike
sir.
Lee might even get involved. I don't know. They doing something now.
Most definitely. I look forward to it, but I'm just glad that you have had the courage to stick it out there like that, man. I know people want to make fun of you, like Dick Gregory said, that they make fun of you because they can't accept the fact that they didn't know about what you know, and that you
Right.
are willing to put it out there. And the truth gonna stand. The truth don't need no validation, man. Like I said, when you told your story on that, when y'all went to the Renaissance Center and that went viral, I feel like this dude is telling the truth to me. He saw somebody
Yeah.
get done in that.
Right.
If it wasn't Hoffa, you said it was Hoffa, but it was somebody you saw that lost their
Right.
life in a very disturbing way. And I believe it
Right.
actually happened July 30th,
And
19.
that in itself should allow law enforcement to at least go in there and check it out.
Right.
As soon as you mention the name Hoffa,
Mm-hmm.
oh boy. As soon as you mention that name, this guy's a nutcase. Whatever, he's a black
Yeah,
guy.
but
He
his
don't.
family deserved closure. His daughter
Yeah.
was a judge. His son took over his legacy as Teamster. He served as Teamster president longer than his father did.
Right, but a lot of people didn't like him.
Mm-hmm.
He had a lot of enemies.
Of course he did.
It's sad, but he did. But he helped a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, a lot of working class people.
Yeah. All right,
I
brother
remember
Mac.
that. I remember it crystal clear in the '70s.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When the bumper stickers was all around. Jimmy Hoffa's missing, the phone number, the call, all on the telephone poles everywhere. Bumper stickers. And, they still ain't found this guy, and he's been in the back of my head ever since.
And they made him immortal though. They thought by getting rid of his body that people gonna forget about him, and people still talking about him.
Yeah.
And people still want to know what happened.
Yeah, and this guy, man, he was 3 years younger than my dad. My dad was born in 1910.
Mm-hmm.
He was born in 1913,
Right.
So it's kind of sad. And the Edmund Fitzgerald sunk that same year, 50 years ago. And they used to ring the bell in that church next to the Renaissance Center every year to remember the Edmund Fitzgerald that sank in Lake Superior up there, upper Michigan. So, and the guy who's one of the people who drowned on that ship, 62 years old, and so was Jimmy Hoffa. He was 62 years old. And
Wow.
the ironic part about this thing with Hoffa is the emerald color that I was telling you about. Hoffa's car was emerald green. My car was emerald green. My gym shoes was emerald green. And the statue in front of the city county building is emerald green. Ain't that ironic?
That's something. That's
What a
God.
coincidence.
That's God.
I mean, you know, what a coincidence that emerald, something about that emerald green brought us together that year, man.
Mm-hmm.
I almost died just like him,
Mm.
same year. But I found out through Michael Francis, one of the Colombo crime family bosses. He's a former person now. I said,
Mm-hmm.
Mike, everybody want to know why they didn't kill me when he came up to me and threatened me and showed me his gun. He said, well, Mike, the mob does not do that. You got to have orders from the boss to kill somebody. Now, Fat Tony, so the order came from Fat Tony Solano out of New York, Genevieve's
Mm-hmm.
crime. If Thomas Andretta had caught me and killed me, he would have got killed. That's
Really?
that's the way. That's
Kill
the
a
reason
black teenager kid. He got killed for killing a black teenager.
they'd have killed him too.
I thought the mob didn't like black people. I'm sure.
But I don't know if they did or not, but I know Michael. What's his name? Michael, the boxer, Mike Tyson.
Tyson, yeah.
Him and Michael Francis is the best of friends. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they all in that circle in that boxing arena anyway.
Oh yeah, the mob. It's always been mobbed up. Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
him and Mike Tyson is the best of friends. He be on 1,000 podcasts with Michael Francis.
But it's something about you, Mikes, though, man. You Michaels are special. All y'all good friends. You guys named Michaels, y'all interesting dudes, man. All Michaels are interesting. I said, anytime I meet a person named Michael, I said, who is this? This is a character right here. Martin Luther King's be named Michael. They still call him Mike. You know, his inner circle.
Man. I mean, I grew up with Mike. I grew up with Michael Jackson. You know, we used to when they first got popular down there in Gary, Indiana. We all went down to their house. They had a shish kebab on the back porch. There was so many people there lined up, man. We couldn't even get to the back.
I love the Jackson.
But I remember that crystal clear in 1970. You know.
Mm-hmm. And who knew he gonna become what he became, man? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, brother Mike, man, you have a great night, man. Blessings, man. We look forward to reconnecting for an update.
I will.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Call me anytime, man.
Most definitely. One love, bro, man. I appreciate this. It made my night. And
We're
gonna be listening to this on replay. A lot of people say we're gonna listen to this on replay. I'm looking forward to those replays.
Yeah, I can't wait to come back down to Memphis, man. I love it.
Let me know. You got my number. You got my contact information.
Yeah.
I got a lot of having you around.
Oh, I got a lot of trucker relatives down there. They big too.
Well, it's a distribution hub, man. You know, Memphis is a distribution hub. Yeah, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, my brother.
Man, blessings, man. Have a great night.
You too. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you, family, for joining us for another wonderful, entertaining, educating edition of We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Brother Ron, also known as R2C2H2, the artivist. And man, this is incredible, man. I just really feel good. I'm glad I got a chance to share this with you all. So just check out Michael Yarbrough on the social media. Type in Michael Yarbrough, Jimmy Hoffa. He got so many different podcasts he has done. It's like his story, his life story in general is incredible. And it's very inspiring. So y'all take care. God bless. Words great to Gutton once again. We love you madly. Words of Brother Ron. Keep on producing and pushing. One love.